Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're replacing the front door speakers and dash speakers on this 2023 Toyota Tacoma. Now in this install we're going to show you how to remove the door panel and replace the factory 6x9 inch speaker, and we'll also show you how to replace the factory tweeter located in the corner of the dash. Let's get started. So before we jump into things, couple of things to note. Our Tacoma was not equipped with the factory JBL audio sound system. Generally speaking, if you have JBL, that factory amplifier likes lower impedance speakers, so not every aftermarket speaker is going to be a good fit for your truck. So we can link those corresponding parts in the description. We do not have the JBL sound system, so we don't have to worry about that. So any aftermarket speaker with the right size will fit in this location. Now additionally here from factory, you have a component set, meaning your mid-bass speaker is in the door and the tweeter is in the dash, called a component set, where the tweeter is separate from the mid-bass driver. I usually start from this bottom corner and use these type of tools as well. You can use the vinyl panel tool as well. We need to pop and release each clip up and around, then we'll lift the door panel off the door itself. With the door panel off, we disconnected our harnesses here. White is going to be the lock unlock, and green is your actual door lock release. We did just disconnect our two harnesses. There's little tabs in there. If any of your clips stay in the door, you can pop them out, just like so, and put them back in the door panel for reinstallation. Now, if you need to pop this panel out to get to these harnesses here down below, you see there's a clip here in the front and a clip in the back. If you push from the back side, it actually will allow you to pop that on out, especially on the driver's side. It'll make it a lot easier to unsnap this to disconnect your harnesses rather than fight with the harness while it's connected to the door panel. Factory 6x9, it's held in with 4 screws, or you can use a 10mm socket as well, and disconnect your harness and the speaker will come free. So with our speaker out, let's turn our attention over to our tweeter in the dash. Now here is our factory tweeter. And essentially here all you need to do is remove those two 10mm bolts and disconnect the harness, and your tweeter will come free. Alright, so here at the bench, the parts that we're using for install, first and foremost, are the speakers that we've chosen to go with. Now these are the Alpine Type S, S-S69C, and that C stands for component. And essentially here it has a aftermarket 6x9 that matches a factory size. And it also comes with a separate tweeter, just like the factory does as well. Now we like these Alpine lines because it has a crossover, and the crossover is just for the tweeter, as our crossover for the mid-bass driver is already built into the basket of the speaker itself. If your speakers come with a crossover, you have to install it, as that crossover is going to protect the speaker from unnecessary frequencies that could damage the speaker itself. Now, in order for us to put that in the factory location, we'll need a bracket adapter, and this is the Metra 82-8146. And essentially here, this allows you to install a 6x9 in that factory location. It'll bolt up just the way the factory one was. Also accommodates a nice hole to allow your wiring harnesses to pass through. Everything here comes in pairs. We've already done the driver's side. Now wiring here for the door, we need the Metra 72-8104. This is a wiring harness adapter for a plug-and-play application. Again, just for the door. And then for the dash, we have the Metra 72-8110 for the dash tweeter. There's a lot of extra wiring which we'll cut down. And then for the bracket, it does call for the Metra 82-4201. This one's a custom fit. It puts a pilot hole here in the center and use a hole saw to cut the hole for your tweeter for the size needed. Again, we can link other alternatives in the description. So we have a lot of parts here. As mentioned before, everything comes in pairs, so you can do both the driver and passenger side. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our mid-bass driver, get it bolted up in our bracket here, and prepare our door wiring harness adapter. Alright, so we put in our 4 screws. Now, oftentimes with this bracket, the screw cutout's a little big, so I always throw the little retainer clips on the back side. You can see there, just to hold it in. And so I don't want these to rattle loose in the door. So we got that all set up here. Now let's grab our harness adapter. Now we like to loom our harness adapter with a little tested tape. It just prevents it from chafing in the bracket. So let's do that. Use high temperature tested tape. Then we'll feed it through the hole in the top of the bracket, connect it to one set of the terminals on our speaker. Alright, so our door speaker is done. Looking good here. Went ahead and got our harness all in. I threw a zip tie to hold the harness in place. But there we go. All connects into place. This is a nice plug and play connection. And this will bolt up in the same location as the factory speaker did. So we can go ahead and get this installed, and then we'll turn our attention over to our tweeter. Alright, we got the speaker all installed. All looks great. Everything bolts up. Got our harness all plugged in. Now, before you reassemble the door panel, it's always a great idea to test it to ensure it's working. Once you confirm it's working, go ahead and reinstall everything in reverse order. With the door panel done, now we can turn our attention over wiring up the tweeter and get that reinstalled as well. Alright, so with our tweeter, we have a ton of extra wiring. And additionally here, very important to note, this harness adapter is actually pinned backwards. So your white's going to be your negative and your black is positive. That's kind of common that we've seen in the latest generation of Toyotas, where the polarity on the tweeter is reversed. So keep that in mind. If you wire this up and plug this in, like we did with the door panel, the tweeter polarity will be backwards, meaning it'll hit inwards instead of outwards, and it may cause distortion or impact your sound quality. So just remember that we're going to have to switch our positive and our negatives of our harness in order for that to be corrected. Now what we're going to do is kind of go above and beyond here, and essentially we're going to cut out a ton of this extra wiring to make a nice short little harness. We'll show you what an example of that looks like, and we're going to solder it up and make it look nice. Our harness needs to connect to our crossover, and our crossover will connect to our tweeter. Now here, as mentioned before, it has a little pilot hole, and our Alpine requires a 2-inch hole saw. So we're going to cut 2 inches out of that, so our flush mount can sit flush, and then it comes with a little backing nut to secure it nice and tight. Alright, so we went ahead and finished our tweeter, and we chose to do it this direction with this ridge upwards. It'll allow the tweeter to sit a little bit further deeper in the dash so it doesn't bind up with our tweeter grill. So this is done. We don't have to cut and modify. You may have to do a little shaving on the driver's side, like this photo here, but essentially here, this side, plenty of space. Now, as mentioned before, we're going to go a little bit above and beyond, and just cut this harness down a little bit. We're going to cut all this out. Here's our crossover, there's our input, and then here's our harness adapter. So we're going to cut about 3-4 feet of wire out of here and get everything soldered up. Now, as we solder up our tweeter to our harness adapter, remember, white generally is your positive, black is your negative, but on our Tacoma, the polarity of our tweeter is backwards. Now, generally with our Alpine, wire with your black stripe is negative, solid is your positive. So instead of going negative to negative, we're going to swap it so the polarity will be corrected. So we're going to go black to no stripe and white to stripe. Alright, so our tweeter harness is all done here. We got our crossover. We cut out a ton of wire, and but essentially here it looks a lot cleaner. This end plugs into the vehicle, through the crossover to our tweeter. Everything's wrapped with high temperature tested tape. We're going to go tuck this deep in the dash so it doesn't rattle around. This will plug up and bolt into place. So without further ado, here at the bench, we're done. Let's head over to the car to get this installed. Alright, so we got our tweeter all installed, bolted in. Got our harness out for our automatic lights. But really, that's it. So at this point of time, let's go ahead and reinstall the grille and the A-pillar cover. Alright, so we got the tweeter grille all in. Looks great. Everything fits nice and flush like factory. And we've got the A-pillar back on as well. Now for reference here, the driver's side does have a 10mm bolt because it doesn't have any other anchor points, but it's underneath the ABS airbag cover. So again, use a panel tool, flathead screwdriver, pop that off so you can get to the driver's side tweeter. Alright, so that's about it for this install. If you have any questions on what we did here, go ahead and post a comment below. Now, if you're interested in knowing how to do the rear speakers, we have done those, and we'll link that video in the description of this one, along with another video on our 5-channel amplifier and subwoofer install on this 2023 Tacoma. Check those videos on out. We'll also link all the parts that we used in today's video down there as well. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you liked what you saw, and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content on the channel all the time. We will see you in the next video.